Breyers here, and in today's YouTube video, I'm going to be teaching you how to make this adorable leather halter set for your ponies. Now, I've actually never done a leather halter tutorial before, so this is about to be a wild ride. But when I first started making model horse tack, I never found a leather halter tutorial, so I had to like figure all of this out on my own. And let me just say, that was a painful process. So I am very excited to be able to share this with y'all because I don't really know if there are any leather halter tutorials out right now. I haven't really looked, but this is how I make my leather halters, and we're gonna be making this one super fancy. So this is my deluxe version where it's got the breakaway pieces, the rolled throat latch, the adjustable chin strap, and a nameplate. That's right, y'all. I'm going to be teaching you how you get to put your pony's name on your nameplate. So I'm very excited about this. So without any further ado, y'all, let's dive in. As always, we are going to start out with what materials we're gonna need. So first up, we need a helper bean. Today's helper bean is Pinocchio. He is so cute. I adore this mold and his color is so pretty. For a leather halter, you're gonna need some leather lace. Now, I get my leather lace from a shop on Etsy called Leatheroo Lace. They are based in Australia, so shipping can be a little expensive, and they do send you a lot of leather lace. But really, all you're looking for is 1/8 inch leather lace. So I'm gonna be using kind of like a mahogany brown for this one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull that entire roll out. Next up, you are going to need some hardware. I'm gonna be using gold hardware. I get all of my hardware from Rio Rondo. Since we're gonna be adding a nameplate to this halter, we're also going to be needing some weird little, I don't really necessarily know what these are called, honestly. They're in the jewelry making section, so we're gonna need a whole handful of those. Hardware wise, since this is going to be a deluxe nameplate leather halter, we are going to need chain for the lead rope. We're gonna need 2 halter rings, a lead rope clip and a throat latch clip, a small jump ring, a heavy gauge 6mm jump ring, 4 regular 6mm jump rings, a nameplate, and then 3 buckles with their tongues. I already went ahead and attached the buckle tongues, but this is all the hardware that you're looking at. Before we go any further though, since we're already on the hardware, I'm gonna show you how to get your hardware ready to be used. The catch-22 with hardware is once you clip it off from the rest of the hardware, it's gonna leave this ugly little tab at the end. Also, that can scratch your pony. We don't want that. So I'm gonna take a metal hobby file. You can get these at Hobby Lobby. They're over by the metal car kits. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna softly file down that tab so that it's nice and smooth up top and on the bottom. This makes your hardware look more professional and keeps it from scratching your pony. Glue wise, I'm going to be using Loctite super glue. This is instant bonding. You can use whatever glue you want to use. Just don't use hot glue. Hot glue does not work on leather. I've got some clothespins. I will use these to hold the leather in place while I'm working on other things. For the nameplate, we are going to need some glossy clear address labels. These are by Avery. You can get these on Amazon or at Target. Tool wise, I have a leather working block I got from Hobby Lobby. This is gonna be a little unconventional, but to poke my holes in leather, I use a mechanical pencil. It's just the perfect size. If you're using a mechanical pencil, you want to make sure that it's got the metal tab at the end so the piece does not run away into the pencil. This is the only part that's gonna be poking through the leather. Also, if you're using a mechanical pencil, you're gonna need a hammer. You're gonna need something to mark with. I'm just using a flare pen and a ruler. You're also gonna need some tape. You're gonna need scissors. Basic tool wise, these are the ones that I always have on hand. I've got wire cutters and pliers. If you're making tack, highly recommend just always having these on hand. You're gonna need an X-Acto knife and a pounce wheel. You can get these both at Hobby Lobby. All right, and once you have all of your materials, you're ready to start working. All right, step 1 of our halter is to skive the leather. Do you know what the term skive means? Because I definitely didn't when I first started making leather product. To skive your leather, we're gonna need our leather working block, and our X-Acto knife. I don't necessarily know if this is like 100% accurate, but this has worked for me. So how I skive the leather is I lay the leather lace down on the leather working block, and I take the X-Acto knife and I very, very carefully just start working it in in between the flesh of the leather and the pretty side of the leather. You want the flesh of the leather facing up because that's what you're cutting off. Just carefully start cutting off the flesh of the leather. This does take a hot minute, so I am gonna time lapse this part. If you do cut the leather, because it happens where if you skive too deep, then you get the leather, don't worry about it. You're gonna need strands of all different sizes. So if you cut your leather, don't worry, just keep going. There's a lot of leather lace here to work with, and we're just gonna skive until we think we have enough. Sure, this is gonna be enough leather. So once you've got all of your leather all nice and skived, now we're gonna add the stitch markings. I like to do this now so we don't have to worry about it later. So we're gonna grab our pounce wheel, and to add stitching, all you do is you just press the pounce wheel along the edge of the leather until you can see the little stitches, and from there, again, this step is gonna take a while. I'm gonna just go ahead and start pounce wheeling all of these leather strands just so we don't have to deal with this later. Be sure to leave one little piece without any pounce wheel markings on it. You're gonna need this for the keepers, so I normally don't like having the pounce wheel marking on the keepers. Once your leather is fully prepped, now we are ready to start this halter. Step number 1, we're gonna grab our halter rings because we are making the noseband. So to be able to do the noseband, we're gonna grab our leather, halter rings, and our glue. And to do this, we're gonna put one tab of the leather through the top slot of our halter ring, and then we're gonna glue that tab down. Hold that until it's nice and dry. You don't wanna put this on your pony if the glue is still wet, just because you don't want that to ruin them. Also, with leather, if you have a piece that's kind of sticking out from the edge, you can just take your scissors and carefully trim that off. No worries, it's super easy to fix. Once that's nice and dry, we are ready for our next halter ring, so go ahead and slide that onto the other end of this leather, making sure that the halter rings are facing the same way, and go ahead and slide it pretty close to the other one because now we're going to our pony. Once you're at your pony, we're gonna line the top of the glued halter ring at the point in the pony's face of their cheekbone. Hold that halter ring in place softly as you carefully pull the other halter ring to the other cheekbone to get that noseband measured out. Once you've got the noseband the size that you want, go ahead and pull that off, cut off the excess leather, add some glue, and glue that tab down. Now that we have our halter, we are ready to start our cheek straps. So to do our cheek straps, we're gonna be working with the side slot of our halter ring. So go ahead and slide your leather through that side slot so that you got a tab, add some glue, and glue that tab down. Once that's glued, normally this is the part where I put the jump ring on and I go to the pony to measure it, but since we're doing a nameplate, we actually don't need to go to our pony to measure this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide a jump ring onto the end of the leather and then kind of just pull that closer to the tab that we had. And then what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the nameplate and I'm gonna set it on the cheek strap, and I'm just gonna measure around the nameplate. Model horse nameplates normally take up the whole cheek strap for me, so I just measure around that so that you can see a little bit of leather on the ends. Once you've got the cheek strap the size that you want, go ahead and add some glue and glue that down. With the one cheek strap done, we're gonna do the same exact thing to the other cheek strap. So we're gonna slide that through the side slot of the halter ring, glue that first tab down. We're gonna bend the halter in half and measure the cheek straps against each other so that they're all nice and even. Once we have the size that we want, we're gonna cut off the excess and then glue that tab down. Now that we have the cheek straps all finished, I find that it's easiest to go ahead and attach the nameplate at this point of the halter. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some super glue to the back of this nameplate, and since this pony's show side is the left side, I'm gonna glue this nameplate on the left side of the halter. Once that's on, I'm gonna go ahead and put some clothespins to hold it in place so we don't have to worry about that moving. I like to work on some other things while I wait for this nameplate to attach. It normally takes a few minutes. I give it like 10 minutes to glue in place so it's not gonna like run away. So while we wait for that to dry, we're gonna go ahead and start attaching the buckles to some leather. To do this, we're gonna grab a leather strip, our X-Acto knife, and our leather working block. With our X-Acto knife, toward the end of a leather strip, we're gonna cut a slit. Don't cut all the way down. You don't want the slit to like go through the end. You want a solid end piece. Once you've got that, we're gonna grab one of our buckles and stick the tongue through the slit that we just made and push the tab end of the leather through the buckle. Just kind of like this. And once you've got that, we are gonna add some glue and we are gonna glue that tab down so the buckle is all nice and secure. While you're holding that to dry, I like to go ahead and cut the buckle tongue to size. And once you've done that, we are gonna do the same exact thing to the other two buckles that we have. Same process of cutting the slit, putting the buckle through, gluing it, and then trimming the tongue. It's super simple, and once you've done one, it's really easy to get the whole process down. Now that our buckles are attached to some leather, we're gonna go check our nameplate, make sure that's all nice and glued, and that's looking good. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean up our nameplate a little bit by very carefully scraping off that nasty little film with our X-Acto knife. You do not want to dig this into the nameplate because that will scratch it. You're just trying to gently clean off the nameplate. You can use Windex. I normally just use the X-Acto knife because it's right there and you don't have to like get a paper towel and everything. Once you've got that, we are going to take our weird little eye things that you get from the jewelry making section because we are going to use these as the quote-unquote screws for this nameplate. So I use a different pair of wire cutters. This lets me get really close to the end of that. I'm cutting off the flat tip piece of this metal piece so that we can use that as the fake screw. So just really carefully get close to the end and cut that off. We're going to add a little bit of super glue to where the screw goes, and then we are very carefully going to place this little metal fake screw onto that nameplate. If it doesn't line up perfectly, we're going to take the wire piece that we just cut off to kind of just poke at it until it's nice and flat and in the area that you want. Once you've got the one, go ahead and do the same exact process to the other one. And once you've got that, we are going to let our nameplate dry for a while. I give these a lot of time to dry, so we're gonna just let that dry. Alright, once our little screw thingies are all dry on our nameplate and they're not gonna move, we're gonna go ahead and start working on the chin strap. So to do the chin strap, we are gonna take one of our buckles and we are going to slide that through the left halter ring at the bottom slot. And once we've got that slid through, you don't want your buckle to be super long. Just because this is the chin strap, if you make it too long, it's gonna look a little silly and be really far on the other side. So I normally kind of aim for around like ½ an inch or shorter. I don't really know. Just kind of eyeball it until it's the size that I want. Once you've got that, go ahead and glue that tab down so your buckle is on. Now we gotta add a keeper. If you've never added a keeper for any model horse tack pieces, it's super simple. We're gonna take the leather that we did not add any pounce wheel stitching to, so just like the regular leather piece that's already been skived. We're gonna add a little bit of glue to one of the ends and glue that to the back side of the buckle, a little bit closer to the buckle. From there, we're gonna bend our leather around so that we can kind of measure out how big we want this keeper. You don't want them to be super big or it won't do a very good job of holding your leather in place. So you're kind of just looking for that medium size where the leather will be able to fit through, but it also won't really be able to run away. Once you've got that, go ahead and cut off the excess leather and we're gonna glue that tiny little tab down that we just made. So there you go. We have our very first keeper. We're gonna be adding 2 more to this halter later on. on, but this is the first one. Good job! Now we gotta add the other leather piece for this chin strap. So go ahead and grab another piece of leather. This time we're looking at one that has pounce wheel stitching. We're gonna slide that through the bottom slot of the right halter ring and we're gonna glue that down. Now we're going to our pony because we gotta measure this. So to measure this, we're gonna put the noseband to where we had it before when we were measuring it out on our pony, where the halter rings are at the cheekbones. And now we are going to just very carefully measure our chin strap by pushing that buckle down and pulling that long strap over to the side. What I normally do is I normally measure that strap until it touches the bottom of the other halter ring. This normally gives it a good length and makes it look all nice and pretty. So once you've got that, keep that measured as you pull it off and cut where you measured so that you've got your chin strap. And then you can either leave it flat. I like to give these nice cute little tab pieces a little point, cut off the little ends into a triangle so it's a nice little point. Now, once you're here, how are we gonna get this through the buckle? You guessed it, we gotta poke holes into it. So we're gonna grab our leather working block, a piece of tape, our ruler, and our pen. Now, what I normally do is I line the end of the ruler up with the point of the strap. The very first hole that we're gonna poke is going to be 5 millimeters away from the end of the strap. And then from there, we are doing one every 4 millimeters. I normally poke 5 holes. It's just kind of a preference. You can poke as many as you want, but the first one is 5 millimeters away from the end and everyone after that is 4 millimeters away from each other. So once you've got all that marked out, we are going to grab our mechanical pencil and our hammer, and we are going to very gently hammer our mechanical pencil into the leather so we can poke holes on every point that we marked. Make sure that you're poking the hole in the middle of the leather. If it's too close to the end, it will tear and you will have a broken halter, and we don't want that. So be sure to carefully do this in the middle of your leather strap. And once you've got all your holes poked, this is what it's gonna look like. Now we're going to slide on our dual jump ring. We are going to go to our pony to measure this out. So to measure out our chin strap, we're going to put the halter back on the pony. I normally just kind of pick a hole and just stick the buckle on there and then put it on the pony and then go from there. If you want your noseband to dangle, you can make the chin strap looser. If you want it to be nice and snug, you can make it tighter. It just kind of depends on your preference, but once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and stick that tab through the keeper and your chin strap is done. Now we need to do the throat latch. Since this is a deluxe halter, I will roll my throat latch and make it detachable. So we are going to grab our throat latch clip and also our tiny jump ring, and we are going to put our tiny jump ring through the hole of our throat latch clip so it'll lay nicer and move freely. And then from here, we are going to stick a piece of leather through the jump ring and glue that tab down so that's all nice and secure. Once you've got that, I'm going to go ahead and clip the clip onto the left jump ring and slide the leather of the throat latch through the right jump ring and put this back on our pony because now we have to measure this. So to measure this, we're gonna slide our halter to where we had it before and we're gonna pull the leather through just so we can get the slack out of it so it's easier to measure. From here, I'm going to very gently just kind of finesse this halter until the throat latch is the size that I want. This part takes a little bit of messing with. You don't want the throat latch to be too short because then it'll pull the cheek straps down, but if it's too long, it's gonna look a little silly. So you're looking for that really nice in-between part. And once you've got that, you can go ahead and pull that off your pony, cut off the excess leather and glue that down. You do not want a large tab on this. When you cut off that excess, you do not want to leave a large tab because we are about to roll this throat latch. And if you leave a large tab, it's gonna make it really difficult. So you want a small tab on this one. You might be asking now, how do we roll our throat latch? Well, don't worry, I'm about to show you. So to roll our throat latch, we're going to unclip it so it lays flat, easier to work with this way. Now we're gonna add some glue to the inside of this throat latch and we are very carefully gonna start gluing the sides together. So you're just gonna pinch it together. You will get a little bit of glue on yourself. Don't worry, just wash your hands afterward. Don't touch your face or anything. And we're gonna do that all the way down the throat latch until the throat strap is all nice and rolled and pretty and glued together. And if you need to add extra glue, you can do that. All right, once our throat latch is fully dry, now it's time to make the connector strap. So to make our connector strap, we're gonna take a strip of leather and we're gonna bend it around the throat latch so that you've got a small tab on the inside and the rest of the leather on the outside. We're gonna add a little bit of glue to the small tab and we're gonna glue that down to the leather. Once you've got that, we're gonna stick the long end of the leather through the dangly jump ring on our dual jump ring, and we're gonna go back to our pony to measure this out. Once you're at your pony, go ahead and slide the halter back on, and to measure our connector strap, we are going to softly pull on the leather until there's a little bit of tension between the chin strap and the throat strap. Go ahead and pull that back off your pony, cut off the excess leather and glue that tab down so your connector strap is all done. All right, y'all, we're almost done with this halter. Now we're gonna do the crown piece. So to do the crown piece of our deluxe halter, we're gonna be doing this as a breakaway halter. So we've got 2 buckles. That means there's gonna be a buckle on both sides. So to do that, we are going to glue our buckles on. I normally just slide the buckles down to the tab so that it's a little bit sturdier so the tab is sitting on the jump ring. Cut off the excess and glue that on, and do that for both buckles. Once you've got both buckles on, we're gonna be taking our fancy little fake screws that we did for the nameplate. We're gonna do the same exact thing, but we're adding these to the bottom of the buckles. So to do this, we're gonna cut them off of their wire tails. We're gonna add a little bit of glue to the leather. We're gonna stick that fake screw where we put the glue, and we're gonna press it down with our pliers so that that is all nice and pretty. From there, we're gonna add keepers to both of the buckles. So we're gonna do this the exact same way that we added the keeper to the chin strap buckle, and how you do that is you take the leather that wasn't pounce wheeled, it has no stitching, you're gonna add a little bit of glue to one end, glue that on, wrap it around, make sure that it's the size that you want it, cut off the excess leather and glue that tab down on top. Do that for both buckles and then you're ready to move on. Alright, the next step is we need to start getting our crown strap ready to go. How I do this is I take a strand of leather, I go ahead and turn one of the ends into a point, and then we're gonna poke holes into one end already. We're gonna just start with one end already with holes. This is gonna make it really easy to measure. So like before, we're gonna put the first hole 5 millimeters away from the end, and then every hole after that is 4 millimeters away from each other, and I just do 5 holes. It's the magic number, you know? So once you have all of those poked, we're gonna go ahead and stick that through. I personally find it easier just to put it through the right buckle first. Once you've got that through your buckle, I tend to put it on like the 3rd hole. It just works out really well. We're gonna put this back on our pony because we have to measure the crown strap. So go ahead and pull your halter onto your pony, carefully pull the crown strap to the other buckle, and what I do is I normally cut it at the jump ring. So I will measure it, and then once the leather meets up with the jump ring, that's where I'm gonna cut it. And now you're just gonna poke more holes into it. So there we go. Our halter is ready to go, but wait, we have to put a name on our nameplate. So how I do this is on a Word doc, I write down the pony's name, so Pinocchio, obviously. You can pick whatever font you want this to be, but it does need to be size 6. If it's a longer name, it's gonna need to be a smaller font. If it's like size 3, you're not gonna be able to read it. 6 is the magic number. I love just putting barn names on halters. We're gonna go ahead and stick our labels into our printer, and we're gonna print that out. And once that printed out, we're gonna snatch it because we're going to put this on our halter. To put a name on our halter with these glossy clear labels, we're gonna very carefully cut as close to the name as possible. I normally do the bottom and the sides first, and then I will cut the top off. You wanna be as close to the name as possible without cutting off any letters. I am using tweezers for this. You can use your hands. It's a lot easier if you've got tweezers. We're gonna carefully lay that name onto our nameplate, and then very softly softly press it down. You don't want to scratch it because it will scratch the name off right now just because it just printed. But once you've got that, your halter is done. Look at how cute this is. Oh my goodness, Pinocchio looks so handsome. But we're not fully done yet because we now need to add the chain leather lead rope. So to make our lead rope, we are going to grab our chain and our lead rope clip, and we are going to add our lead rope clip to one end of the chain. Now we're going to our pony to measure this out. So from my experience, the chain lead rope is supposed to go from the right jump ring through the halter rings and reach the left jump ring. What I do once I make it to the left jump ring is I normally give it maybe like 4 or 5 extra chain loops just so we can have a little bit of wiggle room. From there, cut the rest of the chain off. You're not going to need that anymore. Now we're going to take our heavy gauge jump ring and we're going to add that to the other end of our lead rope chain. So now we've got our lead rope clip, the chain, and then the heavy jump ring. So now it's time to add the leather. I don't normally skive my leather lead ropes just because I like them being thicker. To measure the leather part of this lead rope, I'm going to hold the leather to where I think the chain's gonna end with a little bit of tab just so that I know this is gonna bend around the jump ring, and then I measure that over the pony's withers just so that if I'm not using this, I just toss it over the pony's withers. It's gonna be nice and pretty. From there, once you've got a size that you like, go ahead and cut that off so you've got your lead rope leather. And now we're gonna add a little bit of pounce wheel stitching to it so that it's all nice and professional looking and it matches the halter. We're going to take one of the ends, cut off the sides so that it's a nice little point, and then for the end that's going through the jump ring, we're actually gonna skive just a little bit so that it bends over the jump ring and it's not thick, it's not bulky, it's gonna look really pretty if you do this. So just skive a little tiny bit and then glue that around the jump ring, and there you go. Look how cute that is. We're going to add another little fake screw to the jump ring end of this lead rope, just like we did before with cutting it off with your wire cutters, gluing it on, pressing it down with your pliers, and once you've done that, your leather halter set is done. Look at how cute this is. Y'all, words cannot express how gorgeous these halter sets are. They're always so much fun to do. Now you know how to make leather halters for your ponies. You know how to skive leather. You know how to poke holes in leather. You now know how to do nameplates. Like, oh, this is so cool. Look at Pinocchio. He's so cute. All right, y'all, so that's actually gonna be the end of today's YouTube video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed. And if you did, please slap that like button as hard as you possibly can. Show this YouTube video Pinocchio for being such a good little helper bean. And the fact that you now know how to make a deluxe leather halter set, a little bit of love. Also, if you're feeling exotic, please don't forget to check out my Instagram account, which is at @infinity_Breyers. I've been posting lots of fun Instagram reels on there. Also, y'all will get a vote on Instagram what tutorials I do next. Like for this one, I did a poll between leather halters, deluxe halters, English bridles, or like close contact English saddle pads. The leather halters won, but I wanted to make it a little bit fancier, so I just combined the leather halter and the deluxe halters into one. So that worked. If you happen to make any leather halters with this tutorial, please tag me. I love seeing y'all's creations. Y'all are literally so creative, and I'm just so excited about the fact that I'm gonna be helping y'all learn how to make model horse tags, because let me just say, crafting for my ponies is one of my absolute favorite things to do, so why would I not share it? If you have any suggestions as to what tutorials y'all would like to see, please comment in the comment section down below and let me know. I do plan on making one about blankets in the future, also bridles and like saddle pads. So if you have anything else though that you want to learn how to make, comment in the comment section down below so I can make a tutorial on it in the future. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on an upload. And other than that, y'all, I'll see you in my next YouTube video. Bye!